Hello everybody, welcome back to the Dinosaur Revival. Now today I'm going to be talking about what I would like in my ideal hybrid add-on. I'm going into this unscripted, so I'm going to use a lot of images to sort of help illustrate my point. If I stutter, I'll try and edit all of that out without, if I stutter, then I'll try and edit it all out without it sort of cutting between. With obvious cuts between me speaking, so I'll try and sort that out for you. I want to get straight into with the variants. For the free update, I would like to see the return of the original Ankylodocus. I do want to make it clear that I know a lot of people don't like that model, but with it coming back as a variant means it's there if people actually do want to use it. Because I do know that some people, despite looking a bit funky, people do like to use it anyway, and you know, it's there if you want to use it, so you don't have to use it. It's there as an option thing. Sort of about like how more people I think use the new Deinonychus model over the original one at this point. And it's not to say that other people don't use the original, because I'm sure they do. So it's there as an option sort of thing. And within the DLC, I want them to add the actual Stegoceratops design, like it's more of a cross between Stegoceratops. Well, in the movie, it's more of a cross between the Zeusoceratops and Stegosaurus rather than Triceratops and Stegosaurus. I know what you're probably going to say, so before you go into the comments, say, but Revival. In the game, you need to use Stegosaurus and Triceratops DNA. So, like, it won't work. But, you see, the thing is, the same thing occurs in Jurassic World, the game. You use Triceratops, and you hybridize it with Stegosaurus, and have them both level 40. But then the result comes out looking more like it's a cross between Nazuto and Stegosaurus anyway, so you can just use the same sort of application there anyway, so it doesn't have to be, oh yeah, creating an entire new version of it. So you add it in as a variant, it's a sort of a homage to the original design for it. I'd like to see that come as a variant. As for new hybrids, unfortunately, I don't think they'd be able to add it, make your own hybrid sort of thing, due to the fact that it would be incredibly hard to do in that sort of game. And you can't do it like, oh yeah, you choose the head, you can choose the body, you can choose the tail, like you can do in Lego game. It just wouldn't really apply to that sort of game in the right way, I don't think. So the best way that you could do it is you'd have to create a bundle of hybrids in game, so you aren't making so much your own hybrids as ones that you have in game already. But you can sort of choose which ones you want to go after, which is like how it is in the game already. So, like for example, they can add a T-Rex and Spinosaurus hybrid, which that is an actual mod for, at least in the very first game on Nexus mods, as a Tyrannospinus hybrid. So they can add something similar in game, in more of a unique large hybrid. Another thing I'd like them to add, if possible, is the Ultimasaurus. I'd like to see that come into the game, which I have mentioned before way back when I did my Jurassic World Evolution 2 DLC add-on, sort of, or 30th Jurassic Park 30th anniversary expansion idea. I did include Ultimasaurus back then, including it here. I don't know how many hybrids. Let's have a think together. If you have any hybrid ideas, you can leave them in the comments below, please. Feel free to leave your sort of ideal hybrids out there. Something that would be interesting that could still work would be what they have sort of in Jurassic World the game again, a cross between Mosasaurus and Dunkleosteus, and give us a bit of an armoured Mosasaur hybrid, and that gives us room to have more marine hybrids as well. Give us something proper, like giant maybe, with a cross between Hatzegopteryx if they add that to the game, and gets to create a giant hybrid pterosaur or something like that. Would also have to include a raised aviary, of course, but I'd like to see a hybrid that's not just glued to land. Don't get me wrong, I love the hybrids in the game. I just want to see more sort of range in them. And going back to that other idea of quote unquote make your own hybrid, you just have a bundle of creatures you could have in there. You can decide to, oh yeah, let's fuse these ones together, let's fuse those ones together. Give a load of creativity as well for the Frontier team. Sort of expand their reach and create their own new hybrids, which I think that the community would like, whether you're a fan of the hybrids or not. So going back to sort of herbivore, that's something interesting as well. I don't think the only carnivore herbivore hybrid is Spinoceratops. So it'd be interesting to have sort of more of those in the game. Cross hybrids between different sort of dietary sort of needs, which I would really like personally. I would like that to appear. So we aren't just glued to one. I keep using the term glued. So we aren't stuck with that one. So we've got more omnivorous sort of creatures. How they include that, that would be up to them. But that's sort of my idea for what they could be. My ideal would be for it to be an expansion as well. That would be my ideal sort of situation for them to go with. And again, I'm doing this all unscripted, but I've got all of the ideas in my head, so if I go on in a bit of a rant, just forgive me. Another story that we could use is something maybe like go back to sort of, we've got this expansion back in JWE1. I'd like to see an expansion where we actually have to work with Doctor Wu if they can get the actor, of course. Although I don't know if they have the actual actor, but use the character of Doctor Wu or some like team of scientists that you have to work for to create these new hybrids that have come into the game. You have to, and a part of the story would be use cross-species dynamics. So like you have to have them contained in the same location with their sort of genetic makeup. So let's go with the T-Rex Spinosaurus hybrid idea, even though we've got two Spinosaurs hybrids in the game already. But let's say if they did do that, you'd have to try and contain them with their sort of ideal species. So you'd have to put T-Rex and the T-Rex with the Spinosaurus hybrid. So see how, oh yeah, this is how they interact, and then move the hybrid back into another enclosure with the Spinosaurus, so see how those react and act together. I think that would be interesting, where the story is like looking at creating these new hybrids and seeing how they interact with that genetic makeup, see if they communicate and live together properly. Sort of like how we see the Indominus Rex interact with the Velociraptors. That would be sort of, so I don't want to repeat myself there. We have to go sort of away from our traditional sort of group of people. We work with brand new people, sort of undercover to create these new hybrids and use them as sort of experiments in a sense, where we create all of these new animals. And that doesn't mean, oh yeah, I think one of the issues that I personally have is that these hybrids are sort of just a blatant mix between, well, for example, Spinoceratops. Spinoceratops is a mix between the sort of genetic makeup, that being Spinosaurus, and Sinoceratops. That's my one complaint. Well, it's not really much of a complaint. It's still a really cool design, and they have to go off of what they've got. But what I'm trying to refer to is that, think of Indominus Rex. It's not just, it doesn't look just of a combination of all the species that go into it. And Indoraptor, again, isn't just an obvious clear mix of just a raptor, putting more raptor DNA into the Indominus Rex itself. And especially Scorpius Rex as well. That's not just a clear mix of what creatures necessarily make it up in terms of genetic DNA. So that gives the Frontier team even more creative liberty. So basically my ideal add-on, I'm trying to keep this short, my ideal expansion, because I do like it with being an expansion, is new variants, more in a free update if people do decide to use it. It's there if they want it. Variant in the DLC. A decently sized bundle of hybrids as well, whether that be avian, marine, or land-based. I'd like to see a bundle from each subcategory. and give us a lot of sort of availability into it. And expanding, I know, again, not many people like hybrids in the sense of in game. I don't, or at least from what I've heard. But it would be a really cool way. I really like the hybrids, and I really like the storyline of Secrets of Doctor Wu, and it's just, I'd love to see another expansion involving hybrids, where we've got a complete new story to go with these new creatures and just a really fun way to sort of play with them. And I'd love to see something like that come back. And hoping Jurassic World Evolution 3 has a longer lifespan than the previous two games, we'd get multiple expansions rather than just two. Hopefully, like, at least three, I would hope, like we did back with JWE1. We had Claire's expansion, Secrets of Doctor Wu, which I count as an expansion because it gives us a new story, and Return to Jurassic Park. So hopefully we get more expansions with this one, and hence having a longer lifespan. And I hope that they do work with I hope they give us a new expansion involving hybrids. Let me know that would mean they've got something to do with new hybrids in every single JWE game, but I don't see that as a problem personally. I really like the animals. They're really cool, and I'd love to see a new story involving them because there's so much potential there. So, that's my rant finished, and yeah, I just love hybrids, and I'd love to see them back in game with a major story point. And of course, they would have the other expansions, like definitely Rebirth expansion, that's going to be out at some point. And all these other possibilities, like I think we discussed in the Evolution podcast with Chaos Theory, maybe being just a dinosaur pack, but I've not seen the whole thing, so maybe it could even be an expansion as well. We did mention that in our podcast, or last episode of the podcast, which I'll link at the end of the video, which will be coming up in a moment for you. But yeah, I think it would be a really cool way to bring back hybrids into the spotlight in the main story, or made for them rather than just in general. And I'd just love to see it again. I'd also want to mention that somehow I'd love to see the what's left of Isla Nublar after Mount Cyber erupted as well. Whether that be in Evolution games, they can bring it back somehow. That would be really cool to see their interpretation of the aftermath for Frontier's interpretation of it, if there's anything left of Isla Nublar, because well, either a little bit of the island is left untouched, or the entire island sunk, because take Yosemite. When that erupts, the entire thing sort of sinks. So the same thing could have happened with the entire island. It could have all just erupted and calderas emptied and it just collapses in on itself. But I'd like there to be another story as well along the lines where we do return to the 5 deaths. And that means the 5 deaths excluding Nublar, depending how much Frontier decides to interpret as is left of the 5 deaths. But I'd love to see them back in an actual story as well, not just playable maps, but have their own special story, like maybe for the anniversary for Jurassic World Evolution. That'd be really cool if we get another expansion. So my ideal expansions at the moment are a hybrid one, like I have discussed in this video, Rebirth expansion, and an anniversary expansion for the JWE1 game, where we all get this storyline for them all. And if they do decide to use Chaos Theory as an expansion, then we get an expansion for Chaos Theory as well. But that is all from me, and I'll catch you all on the other side.